What's up, y'all? So, as much as I hate to say it, it seems like Trey Lance is just done at this point. I think at this stage, it is pretty safe to declare Trey Lance a bust in all likelihood. If we want to get into why, all you have to do is take a look at the 49ers' 7-34 preseason loss to the Raiders, where Trey Lance was just not good. Like, I'm sorry. He got outperformed by Sam Darnold and even Brandon Allen to some degree. And he did have the rush in his face a lot. His O-line was not great throughout the half he played, and I will get to that. But it doesn't really excuse a lot of what happened here. Now, his stats look okay. But the thing is, you look at it, the touchdown he threw was a dropped interception. He had a different interception that was also dropped. He took 4 sacks. The box score here does not really tell the full story of this game. With the 4 sacks, the offensive line did sort of let him down to some degree in this game. Because there was a lot of pressure in his face for a lot of the game. But the problem is, the sacks he took, at least 2 of them, were terrible. He got sacked 2 times on the first drive. And on both of those plays, he came out, saw pressure, and then instead of trying to really evade the rush, just sort of stood in the pocket and did pump fakes. I don't really know what he was going for there. He just sort of pump faked in the pocket while the Raiders' edge rushers were screaming down on him, and then they just sacked him. He did at least start trying to get outside of the pocket and, evade the rush later. But yeah, it's okay, his career stats are not great. He's barely played. And we're entering year 3 at this point of Trey Lance. He hasn't even thrown 1,000 yards yet. And a lot of that is because he was injured last year. He would have been starting, but he didn't play very well in the 2 games he played last year. He completed less than half his passes, which is just not acceptable for an NFL starter. And, he really is just completely raw. We really can't trust that he can play, and in any opportunity he's gotten to try and show if he can play, he hasn't been able to. You look at the amount of games he's played. He played 19 games at North Dakota State before he was drafted with the 3rd overall pick. And since that point, he's played 8 games and started 4 of them for the 49ers. So he's played 27 games since high school and, has not really impressed in the NFL, in his NFL games. So, honestly, I think if you're a 49ers fan, you just have to be thanking God that you drafted Brock Purdy at this point, and that you lucked into him being a very good starter in his own right with the last overall pick in the draft. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because obviously I have nothing against Trey Lance. I hope he succeeds. I hope he proves me wrong here. But as it stands, this is looking like one of the worst draft selections almost of all time from the 49ers here. You look at who he was taken over with that 3rd overall pick. And the 49ers, who have been really close to getting to Super Bowls and possibly winning the Super Bowl over the last couple of years. They've made it to back-to-back NFC championships and lost. They could have had Justin Fields, who's shown way more. And, you look at his preseason game on Saturday, looked amazing in it. They could have had Patrick Surtain, who's turned into one of the best corners in the league. They could have had Micah Parsons and paired him up with Nick Bosa for what would be unquestionably one of the best pass rush duos of all time. They could have had Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle or any of the other elite receivers in this draft class and had one of the best receiving corps in the league by far. And you look at the first round as a whole, this is one of the best first rounds I think we've ever had. Almost every player has turned into a consistent starter. Only about 5 guys haven't been able to play at a starting caliber level. And it's Zach Wilson, who was before the 49ers pick, Trey Lance, and then a John Gruden pick in Alex Leatherwood, Caleb Farley, a guy who we knew had massive health concerns and hasn't been able to play. You could maybe add Kadarius Toney onto this list, but he's at least showed good flashes when he has gotten to play, especially with the Chiefs. And Peyton Turner, who was always overdrafted, in a similar vein to Alex Leatherwood, where we just sort of knew that pick was bad from the start. So, look, I like Trey Lance. He seems like a great guy. I hope that he can turn this around. I hope he proves me wrong. And I hope that he can become a great quarterback at the NFL. But I think if that is going to happen, it's not going to be in San Francisco at this point. He needs a change of scenery. Whatever they're doing with him there to try and develop him has just not worked. Maybe he just doesn't have the potential people thought, or maybe the 49ers have messed something up here, and he'll bloom in another situation into one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Who knows? But at this stage, I think he's done for the 49ers. Yeah, you hate to make a video like this just because it does suck that Trey Lance has not performed up to expectations. I'm sure he's not happy with how his NFL career has gone so far either. And, I think there's hope for him in the same way I think there's hope for Zach Wilson. They just need a better situation, and Zach Wilson has gotten that. Trey Lance hasn't. So I do think we have to give him some benefit of the doubt, even if he is, at this point, a bust for the 49ers. We've seen guys turn it around, even in Geno Smith, who showed nothing for the first 8 to 10 years of his career before becoming a Pro Bowler for the Seahawks. So it's completely possible, and I hope he proves me wrong. But at this stage, I think he's probably getting traded. Anyway, so like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And if you have any disagreement with what I've said here, or just have any opinion of your own, maybe some trade destinations where you think you might be going, just leave it in the comments. I will respond to it. And just love to have a conversation. Thank you for watching.